Lucky you!
Best 36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast,
Marnie's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Marquis, Sandy's.
poker,
Bond. James Bond.
horse racing,
I'm all in.
great movies.
Alfred Hitchcock.
We have no script.
And down the stretch they come.
We're glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Whoop, let's start again. So, Billy, how lucky are we today? We have none other than Gabriella Papale, or as her friends call her, Gabby, but her dad calls her Gabriella when he wants her to fall in line or pay attention. And she has a bunch of backgrounds that we're going to get to explore today.
And she knows how to do podcasts for real.
I don't know. You guys have been doing this longer than I have, so I think I need to take some lessons from you. So
Go back on that little tangent again. There's no script with Billy and I.
Yeah.
Syracuse, which is a communication capital.
a lot of big sports broadcasters like Mike Tirico, Bob Costas. There were, I don't know, there were so many. It was, I mean, I don't know if it still is, but when I was going into college, it was the #1 broadcasting school in the country. And my parents' dream for me was always to be a sports broadcaster. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool, I could do it, I guess. But it didn't even end up working out.
That dome is unbelievable to watch a game.
Oh yeah, it's insane. For basketball, it's honestly nuts what they do and the amount of people that they squeeze in a small little area. So I was a cheerleader there for 2 years, my first 2 years, and for football and basketball.
Goldfinger, Thunderball, and then the next one was You Only Live Twice. The scene was pretty cool. It was all in Japan, and the Bond girls were Japanese. They weren't American.
There are never any bad looking Bond girls. I can say that.
Do you like Bond movies?
Yes, Pierce Bronson. He was my favorite Bond. I loved him. The new one I'm not
Daniel Craig?
Yeah, Daniel Craig. I mean, I watched the last one.
Yeah, they killed him. So
We're
was that?
upset about that. They killed him.
I know.
You
Okay, I didn't know
can't
if you were
kill
allowed
James
to-
Bond, right? It's not allowed.
what I say, he's not dead. This franchise might have decided to end it, but James Bond will be back.
He has to. He has to. I'm sorry, but James Bond can't be a girl. 007 can't be a girl.
Thank you. 008 can be a girl.
Yeah, but 007, that's James Bond. That's a man. It's only going to be a man.
Right.
It can't. I'm sorry. No.
Really?
And I sobbed at the end of that movie.
The character is the character. Sherlock Holmes isn't a woman, and
No.
Ian
Hmm.
Fleming, who created James Bond and all the other characters, in his home called Goldeneye in Jamaica. There's a little place overlooking a little bay in the Caribbean. And he went through lots of cigarettes to create that character. They're not going to kill it off.
70
No.
cigarettes a day?
That's
a
what they
lot.
said.
Right? He died. The stock of Philip Morris crashed.
Somewhere along the line, you went to the 76ers.
I did an internship in the events and hospitality department. And that was really cool. I stayed with the organization after the summer as an intern for game presentation and live events. So we planned and executed all of the in-game entertainment and live events for all home games for the Sixers. So if you're ever at any sort of like a sporting game or a basketball game, you have like your pregame timeouts, halftime, and then any sort of breaks at all. For any entertainment, any branding, videos, contest entertainers, any outside performers that came in, our in-arena hosts, our mascot. That's what we were overseeing and doing and executing. I was invited by the NBA to work 2 NBA All-Star games.
Wow.
I was in China doing the NBA China games. I was in London doing the NBA London games 1 year with them. And I was like, I don't even know what game presentation is. Like you think it's like little fairies in the background running around, doing things. And you don't think that that's an actual job, but it's, yeah. Oh yeah. And it was so fun. And
Yeah,
we
there's
always
a lot
had
more
it
work.
exciting.
A lot more work going on behind the scenes than anybody ever realizes. What
Yeah.
inspired you to start podcasting?
It's something that my mom has been trying to get my dad and I to do for years. And I think that finally now I gain the confidence to be able to just be like, you know what? I don't care what people think. If it sucks and it flops, then at least I tried. And I just don't want to have any regrets of saying, oh, and looking back, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I just want to at least be able to say I tried. So, what made you guys get into it?
Bobby made me get into it.
And so many of these phone calls said we should do a podcast.
Yeah, we just try to capture lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, you know, today there's a lack of good content. We
Absolutely.
grew up with Walter Cronkite got on and he took his glasses off and he got a tear. John F. Kennedy was shot. He was doing the news. And
Yeah, there was a
it's
fire
changed.
in the Bronx, or there was a bad storm, or whatever else. You didn't
Right.
hear any
You
politics.
know, we thought that there's enough room there for new content that's interesting. You know, we just did our James Bond episode where, you know, there's 25 James Bond episodes. And we did a horse racing episode. We're going to do
on 17, Eric Cole. He's two back to pull within one. Punch dropping everywhere now.
Yeah, well, and I was also at a point in my life where I knew that I needed to try something different. I felt stuck. And so I said, you know, I need to do something else. I need to try it. And if I don't, and I need to go somewhere, because if I don't, then I'll never leave. Again, like, I don't want to have any regrets. I'll try it for a year, and if I hate it, I'll go back home. It's always going to be there. My friends are always going to be there. I really do feel very fortunate. And you know, they say everything happens for a reason. I truly consider myself very blessed because it forced me out of my comfort zone and it forced me to go to a new place. And I was fortunate to have unbelievable people put into my life. And not everybody's that lucky, especially when moving to a new place. It's awesome. I'm so happy here. I'm like, I will never leave. I still try and recruit Chloe to come down here. I'm like, say, you're coming, right? Like,
yeah, she might,
like,
she might. But you're also,
feel
I think
awful
you're a
about it.
leader. I think you're going to be finding yourself looking back in 10 years. Look what I did. And so many other people did it because there's anything but sedentary.
Not even close. And you know what's actually interesting though? So when my parents got their house down here in 2018, I would come and visit, and I'll never forget this. My mom and I were having just a drink at a bar at I don't even know, a restaurant in South Jersey a few years ago before COVID. And we started talking to a couple, and we said that, you know, that we were going down to Jupiter. And the man was like, oh, it's all old people. You wouldn't like it there. I said, you're actually wrong. There's actually a decent amount of young people. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's really a lot to do down here. And he kept trying to convince me that it was all old people. And I was like, no, and this was pre-COVID in like 2019. And so, I mean, it's an unbelievable place to live. So many young families, and just like a melting pot is what my mom were calling it today. On a Friday night, you see all the parents getting after it, and then they have their young kids in the daycare center there. And then, you know, and they're ready to go, they either walk home or, you know, you have your golf carts. So it's just so different. It's so fun.
So what does this mean here? This whole thing we're looking at here, number 83. You weren't born when he was 83, right? You came after.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's cool. You know,
Do we have to be polite about the Eagles?
hey, I know you're New Yorkers. I'll go at you too. Bring it on. I'm ready.
Billy, I'll give you 10
Well, I got
things.
nothing to bring on. You got
Huh?
the Super Bowl. I don't have anything yet.
You
Okay.
can't be an Eagle fan and a Giant fan. It's just like oil and vinegar. But so
Yeah.
this little jersey your dad wore it for 4 or 5 years, right? How did he get to wear this jersey? How did he get to be an Eagle?
Yeah, well, I mean, it started honestly just because he got an opportunity. So the movie portrays him as a full-time, you know, as a bartender and a substitute teacher, where actually he was a full-time school teacher teaching things like business finance at his alma mater, at his high school that he went to in Glen Olden, Pennsylvania, and then was a bartender on the side, and then played in the World Football League.
Mm-hmm.
And then that league for a year, never played college football, never, he played his senior year of high school, never played college football. In college was a track and field athlete. And a pole vaulter. Actually,
Was he fast?
He was very fast. Yeah. Yeah.
And he could jump. He could pole vault, Billy.
Mhm. Yeah.
A lot of these
He
guys
was-
now are pole vaulting. You see them running up, then they just jump over the defender and they get into the end zone, right?
It's crazy. It's nuts.
I'll never know if I was able to pole vault.
You never tried it?
No. The opportunity never came along where I was near a track with a big long stick. So, but I would never occur to me to try it either. So that's something, watching those guys.
Would you go skydiving, Billy?
No, not anymore.
Me neither,
It's
but our
fun.
friend here's done that.
That's
Right.
youth. That's youth.
You jumped out of
It
a
is.
plane. How high were you when you jumped out of a plane, and where were you?
I was traveling. I was on the coast of Italy, and I was doing a backpacking trip for 5 weeks with my friend. And I said, Carrie, I'm going skydiving on this trip, whether you want to do it or not. So she ended up doing it with me, and I didn't tell my dad because he's deathly afraid of heights. So after I did it, I said, guess what I just did? And I sent him a picture of me, like, going through the sky, skydiving. But it was fun, and it was so pretty. I don't even know how high we were, but
How long did it take to get from the plane to the ground?
you're doing like the free fall thing, and for probably, honestly, I don't even know, because it probably felt like 5 minutes, but it was really probably only like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
And then you're just kind of coasting from there, and you sit up, and I was looking at the coast of Italy, and I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful. And it was so cool. And it was like, but it was the second, I wasn't nervous, but then the second they opened up the door of the plane, and they're like, all right, you guys ready? And I was like, what am I doing?
what have I done?
Too late to be nervous then, because they're
Yeah.
pushing you out. Did you go with
And-
another person?
Oh,
Were you?
yeah.
Yeah,
You go
yeah.
tandem. And so it's like, if you don't want to go, too bad.
That's the only way I would do it. That and maybe a bottle of wine, which is probably not good on the way down, right?
You probably throw it all up.
Was it quiet?
No, you hear the wind. It's just like, boom.
Oh, it's noisy. Okay, wind is
Oh yeah,
pushing
it's
her.
super noisy when you're like making the initial fall, but then once you're up, then it's really not noisy at all.
Billy,
That's
did you know Gabby's brother is a football player?
What position?
Wide receiver, and he's also sometimes they have him doing punt returns.
Special teams, yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I mean, he's good, and he hits, he blocks, and he has great hands, and he's fast. His dream ever since he was a kid was to play in the NFL. If it doesn't
See, your
happen,
only sibling?
yep, yeah. So he's 3 years younger than I am. But everybody thinks that he's older because he's taller and he has facial hair. So it's ridiculous.
Well, we're thankful that he's that way and you're not.
Yeah.
Couple
I'd rather
questions.
him have the facial hair.
I could see you might want to be a little taller.
Would you rather be cooking for your friends, or would you rather go out to dinner?
Ooh, that's a good one. Depends on my mood. Maybe go out, because then we can get dressed up and go have fun, and and then if it's a weekend night, then we could go out dancing and do like a little fun thing.
Whether she's going out to the CVS or she's going out dancing, she's always looking like she's going out.
No.
So if you were in a lounge
Uh-huh.
and we were 49 of your other girlfriends, no guys were there. There were just two guys. On the left side of the lounge was James Bond. On the right side of the lounge was Arnold Palmer. Where would you go?
Oh man, old me would say, oh, well, how young are they?
Let's say they're both in their 40s. Handsome,
like-
both in their prime.
Okay. Oof. Am I looking to get married, or am I just looking for some fun?
Sounds to me like this is going to be a double header.
Golf or pickleball?
Oh man. Golf, because I really do think that it's such a life sport, and it's such a good sport to know how to play, and it's such a good business, for business. So I'm going golf.
Someone asked Gabby, the second question we ask people sometimes, what's your favorite movie?
There we go.
Oh, you know what? I was having this conversation the other day. That is such a loaded question, because I love action movies. Like The Accountant is one of my favorite movies of all time, but it's action. And if I'm thinking about like comedies, I don't know. I'm like a terrible person with these things.
Do you like The Accountant because of the main character? Do you like him?
Is that Ben Affleck?
I think in that movie, he is unbelievable.
Billy and I like works. We don't necessarily care about the person's private life. Like Alfred Hitchcock was purportedly a kind of a weird dude, but that's why he made interesting films.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd be surprised. A lot of Hollywood actors are total weirdos, but
That doesn't surprise me.
no, but in front of the camera, they are, they know how to turn it on and become somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so good at what they do.
Woody Allen is a perfect example of that. He's very people shy.
Yeah, a lot
He-
of them are.
Broadway Danny Rose getting interviewed by Joe Franklin. So Woody Allen and the crew came into the Channel 9 studios to do that. And, he was unapproachable. He was just didn't want to talk to anybody. It was like, but he
Like
knows what he's
social
doing he knows what he's doing when he's making movies. The backbone is Julie Andrews, who was also in The Sound of Music, and she
Mhm.
also was the singing voice for Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady.
She
she was,
was. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
it always annoyed me that they just didn't use her in the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it, Audrey Hepburn, but Audrey Hepburn couldn't sing. But Julie Andrews,
She has a beautiful voice.
You're
Yeah,
bringing
she's a
up
great
Audrey
voice.
Hepburn because you think Gabby reminds you of Audrey Hepburn, which she might.
actually,
Audrey
you do
Hepburn's in
look a
some
little
great
like Audrey
movies.
Hepburn.
Do you ever see
Sabrina.
an Audrey Hepburn movie?
I have Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, that's a
Mhm.
great
I've seen
one.
a couple, but
See Sabrina. You will like that one,
Sabrina?
Gabby.
Sabrina, oh,
Sabrina,
yeah.
yeah.
what
Two
is that
great
one?
actors in that one.
They remade that one with Harrison Ford
Oh,
not that long ago, but the original with William Holden and Humphrey Bogart and Audrey Hepburn is very good. She plays the chauffeur's daughter of a very rich family who falls in love with the youngest son of the family, who's a playboy.
ah,
And
okay.
things get a little complicated because to distract her from the youngest son, and then they connect, and it's a good movie.
Dad and I are trying to do is just to keep. I feel like we live in a world that just projects so much negativity and so much opinion on us, and sometimes people don't want that, and sometimes people just want to laugh, or sometimes people just want to hear people's stories, or they want to hear a father and a daughter, like for in our instance, like they want to hear a father and daughter bicker about why one of us is right and the other one's wrong on a particular topic. And so if will people listen? I don't know. Do I hope they do? Of course. But same thing I'm sure with you both is that you do it because you have things that you want to say, and you have people that have really interesting stories or backgrounds or viewpoints, and they more people should hear it. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And
just
we
so
try
much.
not to be negative.
Yeah.
We're negative about negativity.
This has been great for us.
Yeah.
I
no,
agree.
It's great. Thank you for having me. I was like, what do you call? I was like, who, me? I really do feel very fortunate. And they say everything happens for a reason.
Why are you laughing?
Well, at least we have the laugh to add at the end.
Right. We've gone from 12 handicaps at this to 19 handicaps in just a week.
That's what happened. Somebody changed my grip, and the next thing you know, I can't do the podcast anymore. I felt like I was in the first row of the first pew at church right during the sermon.
And your brother was poking
My
you.
brother was making me laugh.
Thanks for joining us
Casper,
today.
Billy
We
Harmon,
really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity,
And please
Arky,
subscribe to the
Two
show.
Outer,
Hit 'em
Odd
hard
Job.
and hit 'em off.
That's 36 holes.